Joining us here on AM 1100 The Flag is Jessica Schindeldecker, Public Information Officer for the Fargo Police Department. Back to school time is here.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now it's really important to make sure that we're reminding drivers, parents, kids about how to be safe when we're commuting, whether we're driving a vehicle or we're a child walking or biking to school. So it's important to have those conversations and remember that right now as drivers especially, we need to be extra alert.
Absolutely. Now, when people are picking up and dropping off students, they really say it's just going to be a minute. I can park here. Those specific spots are fire zones and handicap zones. Is there any ordinance or anything in City of Fargo policies that govern that?
Absolutely. So all schools, public schools, especially like Fargo Public Schools, West Fargo Public Schools, they have drop-off and pick-up procedures, and it's important to abide by those for the safety of the students and the people who are coming and going from the school, and also to make sure that it's efficient. So don't be stopping your vehicle which is a fire zone, stopping your vehicle there and parking and leaving your vehicle unattended. Don't be stopping or parking in the handicap zones. Those are $100 fines.
Absolutely. Now, what's the speed limit in school zones within the City of Fargo?
So the school zones are during the flashing, they're during certain specific time periods in the morning and in the afternoon, and they're 20 miles per hour, and you will see bright yellow signs and flashing beacons that are going to alert you to slow down to that 20 mile per hour zone. And it's a minimum $40 fine if you're caught breaking that speed limit, and then anything over 11 is an extra $1 per mile per hour. So it's really important to remember that these school zones aren't very big, and it's only going to take you a few extra seconds to get through them at 20 miles per hour. So it's not going to delay your commute by a significant amount of time. So the school zones are set there for a reason, to provide safety for those pedestrians, and so it's important to slow down to that 20 mile per hour or less.
So if you don't want to be spending a lot of money, don't speed in school zones. There's some kids, especially the younger kids, that need reminders of how to ride their bikes to and from school where sidewalks and roads aren't accessible. Can you, where sidewalks aren't accessible, can you talk a little bit about where kids should be riding their bikes if they don't have a sidewalk available?
So if there's not a sidewalk available, they need to be riding on the same road. If they're going to be in the roadway, they also need to make sure that they're like motorists, so they need to abide by the traffic laws. So any bicyclist in the roadway has to abide by all traffic laws. So to make sure, number one, they should have a helmet on. It provides safety if they were to fall or someone were to crash into them. It's going to protect their head. But to be traveling on the same, it's not going to be going against traffic. You want to be going with the traffic, making sure that you're stopping at stop signs, you're stopping at the red lights if there are. Most likely you're not going to be on a roadway if there's a traffic control light, but try to use as many sidewalks or bike paths as possible because those are going to be safe for you. A lot of people may notice that bike paths also have stop signs, so you need to stop at those. There are fines, $5 to $20, depending on what the violation is for bicyclists. Absolutely.
Now, let's talk a little bit. I know in more rural schools, you've got kids that walk to school. I'm sure the same is here in the Fargo-Moorhead Fargo-Moorhead general area. What are some good general rules for students to follow when walking to school?
You always want to be safe, so be aware, be alert, don't dart out into traffic. So if you come to a controlled intersection or a stop sign, make sure you don't just run and cross traffic. Make sure that you make eye contact with that vehicle who's stopping at that stop sign, that they see you and then cross. A big thing right now that we've had pointed out too on social media is there are certain areas by school zones where there are pedestrian walk signals. So once those are flashing, you as a driver have to come to a complete stop and wait for those signals to alert that you can go again, because the pedestrians have the right of way to cross that. But it's also important to make sure as a pedestrian that you have the right of way, but make sure that they're paying attention as the drivers are paying attention and they're stopping, so it's safe for you to cross.
No, I'm guessing Fargo Police Department, when school starts, really kind of ramps up their patrolling of the school areas.
Sure. So the first day of school, we always have blue days. The first 2 days is called blue days, where we have officers making sure they're at and present at the schools during the school time, and not just the patrol officers. We also have people from investigations, command staff, lieutenants, sergeants coming in and making sure that we can cover as many schools as we can, because on any given day at the beginning and the end of school, you just have your day shift officers, right? So there's about 13 officers on. There's more than 13 schools in the city of Fargo, right? So we can't be everywhere officer. And those officers also have to respond to calls for service too as well. So, but what's important to remember is that we try to get into those school zones as much as we can in between calls for service and after briefings so that we're present and can hopefully deter people from traffic violations.
Now, does each school in the Fargo School District have a specific SRO, a school resource officer?
So the middle schools and high schools all have a school resource officer. The elementary school officers, or I guess elementary schools, don't have specific officers, but we have liaison officers that go and make sure that they're present in the schools every now and then, try to create relationships with those kids, and that's the school that's in their beat, in their area.
You know, I know that a lot of times people talk about strangers pulling up and offering candy to kids, but when you're walking to and from school, if a stranger pulls up to you in a vehicle, you don't know them, you've never seen them before, what should kids do?
Well, hopefully parents are having these conversations with their children that we don't talk to people that we don't know and to run away from them if they can, make a lot of noise. Hopefully these kids are not walking alone to school, so they have a friend or maybe a family member that's walking with them. But it's important to talk to them about what they should do in the event that somebody tries to, pull up next to them and offer them, toys or candy, and that it's not okay to take anything or get into anybody's vehicle that we don't know.
Absolutely. And now, obviously, kids are kids, and they walk across just about anywhere they can walk across. Obviously, the crosswalks are made for that. Is it legal to walk across anything other than a crosswalk when you're on the road?
No, so that would be what people call jaywalking. So you're supposed to be crossing at an actual controlled intersection, whether that's a stop sign or a stop light. However, lots of people do cross the roadway. But it's really important to make sure that we're teaching our kids to look both ways multiple times before they are crossing, and we don't just dart out into the traffic.
Absolutely. And last, talking about walking to school, when you get to the crosswalk, what should you do before entering the streets? I know you said look both ways. Is there something else kids should do when they get to that crosswalk?
No, it's just really important to making sure that they're aware of what's going on with the traffic. So is traffic stopping? Have they come to a complete stop? Sometimes a car may stop and wave that child through. So it's important that once you wave them through that you're making sure that they've cleared the whole intersection before you start your traffic too as well.
Now, last but not least, talk about school bus safety. And obviously, our school buses is a big way for kids to get to and from school. What's a good rule of thumb that you maybe use with kids when approaching the school bus to get on it?
Sure. It's important to talk to our kids about school bus stops and how close they are in proximity to the roadway, and that it's not an area where we're going to roughhouse or play around, because there are a lot of vehicles out there that they should be going to their bus stop and waiting there appropriately. The bus comes to a complete stop. The driver is going to tell you to get on, find a seat. When you're getting off of the bus, making sure that we're crossing in front of it, not behind it. If we accidentally drop something in front of the bus, clear the intersection and wait for that bus to go by before you bend over and pick it up, because the driver may not see that the child is bent over and think that they've gone through, and unfortunately would maybe drive over that child. So it's important to make sure that we're talking about crossing in front of that school bus, and so that driver can see that you've gone across if you need to cross the street.
Last but not least, on school bus safety, it's something I've seen time and time again coming from a small rural town in northeastern North Dakota. You obviously see the people that pass the buses when either their stoplight is extended or the red lights on the top of the bus are going on. What's the rule about that, and are there any fines associated with it?
Yep, there's laws against that. So if you're behind a school bus or you've oncoming traffic to a school bus and they've got their stop arm and or their lights activated, you have to stop and wait for them to pull them back in to stop those notifications before you can proceed. And if you do go around them or go past them, it's a $50 fine. And these bus drivers are taking down information on your vehicle, your license plate, and then they submit it to us, and then we look into it and we issue citations when appropriate. So just because you went past a school bus and you didn't get caught by a squad car doesn't mean that you don't have a citation coming for you.
Now, if there's somebody around that neck of the woods that sees that happen, can they report that to the PD as well?
They can, but the only thing is we don't have a way to verify that or to validate it. So unfortunately, a lot of times with traffic violations, people will take pictures even of something going on in anywhere else other than a school and post it on our Facebook page wanting us to do something about it. But we can't do that. The officer's going to have to witness that violation and go through that procedure to make sure we be able to issue a citation.
Well, back to school starts here in a couple of days. Thanks, Jessica, for coming in today.
Yeah, always. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Jessica Schindeldecker, Public Information Officer of the Fargo Police Department. Stay safe out there, folks, when you're taking your kids to and from school.